All right, welcome back to BeerFormers. This is our 6th episode. And I just want to thank you all so much. Our last episode, episode 5, where we talked about the My First Transformers, has exploded. We've had more than 1,300 views as of the time of making this one.
We're ready to quit our day jobs.
Yeah.
We are content creators
Thank
now.
you all who have liked and shared and all that stuff you're
Thank
supposed to do on YouTube. We appreciate that a lot. So today for our 6th episode, we're going to do something a little different again, as we always do every episode, it seems like.
It scares me every time you say that.
Well, we're going to talk about a Transformer again who can't be made today again, like we talked about Megatron, all right?
Right.
And it is this guy right here, the original Generation 1 Jetfire. All right, and the reason why this can't be made anymore is because if you're a fan of Japanese anime at all, you'll notice immediately, when I hold this toy up here, this looks an awful lot like a toy from the cartoon Robotech.
Yeah, Robotech.
Okay. Robotech.
Yeah.
Also came around in the 80s. I had that cartoon as well. So the story of this one is it's an example of licensing issues.
Okay.
When Hasbro first went to Japan and the buyer at the toy fair saw these toys that Takara and other manufacturers that made these transforming robot toys, and like, oh, that'd be great if we sold those in America. That buyer did not just buy stuff from Takara, now known as Takara Tomy. Okay, there were also other toy lines that they bought from for that first couple of years.
Okay, so Hasbro didn't make these toys; they bought
the license to use and produce those toys in America, and then they made up the new storyline around them.
Okay, so they made up the characters. They
made
just
up the
bought
characters.
molds.
Yeah, Bob Budiansky of Marvel Comics did most of the character creation and all that kind of stuff. But anyway,
they got molds from different companies.
But they got molds from different companies.
Okay.
The bulk of the molds come from Takara, who they're still partners with to this day. Right.
Okay.
But they also took some toys from other toy lines and made them Transformers as well. There were some Insecticons that got put out in the first couple of years that weren't part of the main line of Insecticons. There was the original.
You're going off the rails, man.
The original Mega Supreme wasn't from that, which made it to the cartoon, was also from another toy company. Yada yada yada. So anyway, this toy here is an example of where Hasbro licensed it from a company called Takatoku Toys. And Takatoku Toys, I believe, went out of business shortly after this licensing agreement was in place.
Okay.
Unbeknownst to anyone at Hasbro, because people were working different silos, different companies, a company called Harmony Gold here in America was working on bringing the licensing rights over to 3 different cartoons to be brought over to be created into becoming Robotech.
Okay.
Much like Voltron.
Yeah,
okay? Voltron
Defender of the Universe.
Yeah, Voltron was the Japanese cartoon. They redubbed, made a whole new story about it. So they did the same thing. So lo and behold, Hasbro puts out Jetfire, the second year of Transformers.
Okay, yeah.
This is the first Autobot who was not just a car or a truck or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Up until that time, the Decepticons were military vehicles or household items. Like Megatron was a gun, Soundwave was a cassette recorder, yada yada. Autobots were all cars. So this is the first time the Autobots got some air power. All right.
Nice.
This was intended, and it came from a totally different toy line completely. Right. So when it came time for Harmony Gold to bring Robotech over, lo and behold, they couldn't make this toy initially because Hasbro had the rights to it.
Okay, Harmony Gold wanted to make a toy.
Harmony Gold wanted to do licensing for toys. So, so they eventually got around it, and then so that's why this came out basically only like a year or two, and then they quietly take it off the shelves and never appeared again. So when it came time to put Jetfire on the cartoon, Takara had a big heavy hand in that. They didn't want another toy company's image
on their
appearing in their cartoon. So when they brought Jetfire to the cartoon, he ended up looking basically like this toy here. This came out just the last couple of years. This is Jetfire as he appeared in the cartoon. He's a much bigger toy when you compare them side by side.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay.
Although,
but the look is very different. It doesn't look a thing like this toy from Robotech.
Yeah.
Okay? This was called they called it a Battleoid or like that. And it can transform into 3 different forms.
Is it a triple changer?
Kind of a triple chamber, yeah. So it has a robot form, a jet form, which we'll see in a second. And it had like a 3rd intermediate form, which I've never heard this word pronounced out loud, so I don't know if it's a Gerwalk or Jerwalk or, whatever, but it's spelled Gerwalk.
Yeah.
So imagine like a jet, but with legs folded out and it has the arms still out too. So in the cartoon, it hovered around. They could do like some ground fighting with it. Anyway, I digress
majorly.
Squash
people.
So when Jetfire was brought into the cartoon, they redesigned him drastically to look more like this. And for whatever reason, they gave him a name change too. This was called Skyfire in the cartoons. All right. And the American comic book, Jetfire, who was still called Jetfire, also looked like this, though.
Oh my gosh! So you had a Skyfire and a Jetfire that looked
so
the
it's a lot
same.
confusing. So in Dave Scheiber's headcanon world, again, Skyfire and Jetfire are two different people. Maybe they're related, they're brothers, whatever like that.
I think they are.
Maybe they have similar origin stories, but they're not the exact.
Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers got a hug.
Now, there's been other Jetfires come out over the years. They've all been Jets. That's the name.
Okay.
But they've never, ever looked like this before again because, again, this is basically from a entirely different toy line, cartoon line, you name it, right? But in the continuity, basically, in the cartoon, we'll talk about that, the Skyfire, Jetfire continuity, he was originally a Decepticon who's friends with Starscream. He gets frozen on Earth. Time passes. He gets unfrozen. No. Doesn't realize that there's been a war going on, and so he gets duped into becoming a Decepticon again until he realizes that the Autobots are good, which is what he wants to be, and Decepticons are bad, so he switches sides. Boom.
Good for you, buddy.
Good boom.
I feel bad for him, though.
Now,
lost his friend.
Noelle's not going to transform the classic Jetfire because he's a little
you're
old.
Smarter than that.
She's going to transform the more recent Jetfire, which in my headcanon again is still a Jetfire because he looks so much more like him. You can see him side by side. There's a lot of similarities, but yet still not a blatant ripoff of Robotech, right? So this one is a Jetfire that came out in 2014, and she's going to try to give that a whirl to transform that.
Who would win in a battle?
Probably the classic because he's made out of die-cast metal, you know. So,
that's true. Yeah. Okay, his legs are thicker too.
So we'll go ahead and try to transform these now while we talk a little more about Jetfire.
Can I take the guns off?
Yeah, I would take the weapons off. That might make it a little easier for you to transform them. And here goes the missile. Yeah, a little shooting missile.
Glad it wasn't pointing at my eye.
So Jetfire, again, was a former Decepticon, turned Autobot, former friend of Starscream until all this goes down in the cartoon.
Oh, no, these are...
Now, in the original cartoon, Jetfire / Skyfire transformed. When he transformed, he was much bigger, and he could hold lots of Autobots inside him. He was their way of getting around the planet Earth very, very quickly.
You're going to have this transform before I get the guns off.
So I'm going to transform the classic one here now.
Okay, got it. Feet gotta go.
So now, a few years later, you know, they kind of messed with that formula again, where they came out with some of the guys called the Stunticons, who were Decepticons that turned into cars. And to make it even, I guess, the Autobots came out with the Aerial Bots, who were a bunch of Autobots that turned into airplanes. Okay. But those were also combiners. Well, we haven't done a combiner yet. We'll do that eventually at some point.
Oh, that's good. That'll take 2 hours. That'll be the 2 hour special.
Combiners, who don't know, are Transformers. They're a group of Transformers that combine into a much bigger Transformer when they're done.
Okay, this has got to be... These have got to be jet exhausts. And, all right, so that's got to go. Okay, all right. Here is original G1 Jetfire's airplane mode. Ooh. Now the armor pieces come off, so he can look even more like a Robotech jet when you take the armor pieces off. But so you can still do that. You can have him be like basically naked, I guess, you know. But Nakies. But
he's really only Jetfire, in my opinion, if he's got all the armor on, the big boosters on the back and all that stuff.
What if he doesn't have the armor? What is he?
He's still Jetfire. He's just naked Jetfire.
Oh,
you know?
Okay.
This is a family.
There's stories about that. There's fan fiction.
Yeah.
I think this is right, but I can't get those to like snap together because those are like definitely got to be exhaust ports.
I'll help do that for you real quick there.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, they just snap together.
All right,
You're 1,000% correct there.
And all right, and this came up, and that comes down like that.
I think it's the last thing you want to do, though. I think you want to put that cockpit back in place last, and take the mask off.
Oh, it's got a mask, huh?
Yeah. So this one from 2014 can be made to look like Skyfire, who has a regular face, as opposed to like...
Where's the mask go?
Mask gets stored on the gun on the front. I'll do that for you real quick, too. It just kind of goes on there like so. Where's that? There it is.
Okay.
So the gun stores on the mask stores on the gun.
Okay, this is a wheel, so it's got to go down like that.
Yep, you're getting it.
Huh, look at this crap.
So the last thing that makes this one tough, I'll give you a hint here. There's these little panels that you got flipped up, right? You got to get these hips out of the way to get proper clearance.
All in the hips.
So I'll see if we can help you out with that.
What did I do?
I'm not sure. It's kind of...
I'm getting so close, though.
There we go. You just got to get the hips completely rotated out of the way to give yourself lots of clearance. Go to put that on there. Then that should probably go there.
Okay, so that should probably fit
Wait a second. Oh, like this, right? That you just fit
Basically,
like.
yep, you got it.
Holy crap! Okay, and then the wings.
Flip those back.
Oh yeah, I gotta, or else we're gonna have some problems when he's trying to fly. There we go.
It's not quite locked into place, but you're really close. You gotta snap it up a little more. This
Where?
part, the chest part here. See how it's not.
I got it. I got it.
Still not
okay.
quite, but you're,
How'd you know?
But God love you, you're trying.
All right. Well, look. No.
Look, see. So there's a big weird gap here. You gotta bring.
That looks fine to me. Well, now that you point that out.
There. See what I mean? So
okay.
Just a little.
All right. Now
little cosmetic thing.
Now he'll soar.
That's basically it. You did it.
Soar.
Yeah. And just like the original Jetfire, you could add these armor pieces back on if you wanted to make it look pretty cool.
I don't want to lose the pieces. If I'm a little kid, you put the mask on the gun.
Yeah, like I said.
Okay.
Yep.
You did say that. I was so focused on getting the sucker.
These go on the wings to make little wing guns, and that goes on the front. If you want to add on the front there.
Where? Oh, I see. Oh, a little peg. Okay.
Flip that and get the landing gear.
The physics of this is, I don't think it would fly very well.
This is why
with
Transformers are
gun.
cool. Yeah, especially the big jetpacks.
Yeah.
This is why Transformers are cool because you got this extra toy. I forgot this little step here too. This folds back to make that even more like that. There you go.
Oh, okay. Well, now.
The two toys in one. Good job. All right, so you did it. So the original and the more modern Jetfire. We'll do Skyfire again as a separate toy because again, headcanon. But Autobots first. Jet fighter. He's the air commander was his function, so he was in charge of all the flying Autobots. What? And again, the original toy will never be made like this again because of licensing things and conflicts with the Robotech / Macross, as it was called in Japan. Macross Saga. It's just
I like this one better, honestly. Which American military jet would you say this most looks like?
It's nothing exactly like any of them. It's kind of a hybrid between like an F-18 and an F-14. But yeah, it's kind of its own creation as well. But I think even though you had a little bit of help, which this admittedly was a more complicated toy than what was maybe done in the past. I would have had her do this one, but this one is so delicate from being so old.
Oh, I would have broke it.
It's more than going on 40 years old.
I mean, for the love of God.
I know she would have felt bad if she would have broke it too, but
I would have.
So let's celebrate. What beer are we talking about today on BeerFormers?
I'm not done with my questions.
Well, go ahead, ask a question. What's your question?
I would like to know what other Transformers that were Autobots could fly. Besides, you said that there weren't many. Well, that mostly is Decepticons, but were there
so the same year that the original Jetfire came out, there was an Autobot helicopter named Whirl, who coincidentally did come from another toy company besides Takara as well. So we might do Whirl someday. But then the Aerobots, and then basically once the Aerobots and the Stunticons who flipped the mold, flipped the idea of the Autobots being cars and Decepticons being jets, then from there on out it just didn't matter.
Okay.
If they wanted to make an Autobot as a jet, he was a jet. If they wanted to make a Decepticon who was a scooter, then the Decepticon was a scooter. So the initial first couple of years where there was kind of like hard and fast rules and Autobots were this and Decepticons were that was out the window within a couple of years.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, it's fun though that they had some kind of
theme.
Yeah. These are cool, Dave. Okay,
let's celebrate.
Okay, I am ready to celebrate now. Now that you've satisfied my curiosity, so we're gonna celebrate by enjoying a beer from
one of our favorite places.
Yeah.
One of our favorite places.
Okay, so this is a beer from a brewery called Stubborn German. And Stubborn German Brewery is in Waterloo, Illinois, which is probably about an hour from where we live. So it was founded in 2016 by Chris and Tammy Ron. And they are lifelong Waterloo residents, and they were high school sweethearts. And
we were not. We met at a grocery store in college.
That'll be a story for another day.
Story for another time.
But the Chris was a home brewer. And so, like a lot of home brewers, he turned his hobby, his passion, into his livelihood. And he's taken this very seriously. He's had a lot of professional training, including graduating from the American Brewers Guild and Vermont's Brewery and Planning Program. So this space where they created this brewery It's in I would say a downtown square.
And it's a very classic downtown square, like the center, like government, like courthouse type building.
Big grassy area, lots of businesses. But the building is historic. It was built in 1885. It was originally a dry goods store, and then it's been a men's clothing store and a tailor shop and a jewelry store.
Which begs the question: is there a wet goods store?
I don't know, Dave. I mean, now it is. They got wet goods going on at Stubborn German.
I stand corrected.
But so Chris and Tammy, they completely gutted this place. They rebuilt it from the ground up, and the space is absolutely gorgeous. It is not large and is mostly dedicated to brewing. So they have some seating inside and some seating outside.
No food available.
But there's a couple. Well, I'll get to that. But there's a couple of aspects about their remodel itself that I think are kind of cool that I'd like to mention. One is that the bar and tabletops that they have there were made by Don Landgraft, who's Tammy's dad. Oh, cool. And then one of his friends named Steve McFarland. And another thing I think is cool is that the back bar, the shelf behind where they keep their bourbon collection, is originally from the dry goods store. Oh, cool. So they've incorporated some history.
I didn't know that.
And so here's some things that they say about themselves on their website. They serve real German beer, made in a real German town by real stubborn Germans. And they specialize in American, German, and bourbon barrel-aged beers. Cool. And like you were saying earlier, since they focus on brewing, they do not serve food, but you can bring your own food, or there are a number of restaurants in their downtown area, Waterloo, where you can order or bring it with you. So they encourage that. They're dog-friendly and they're child-friendly. They have high chairs and kids get free juice boxes. And if you want to know what's currently on tap, because they're always brewing new things, you can go to their website. You can also bring any clean growler to take it home with you. And
doesn't have to be theirs.
No, and and they also have lots of cans of different products that they made. Which is one we brought home.
You can get 4 packs, or you can make your own 4 packs. Yeah, you can mix
or bring them all home, like Dave did one time.
I did that one time. Yeah, they typically have 19 beers running. I think I brought home all but one.
And so, and you can also try flights. Why don't you tell them the story of the time we tried?
So the first time I saw they had flights, I saw they have I don't know if they had a special name for it, but it was a flight where you get all of their beers at one time. So to do that, what's clever about it is they have a barrel stave, so it's about as wide as this table, so it arcs and everything like a barrel does. Yeah, and there's 19 holes drilled in it, slightly smaller glasses than these, and all 19 beers in it. What's funny is that, they're like, here you go. And I'm like, it's a crowded bar. And I'm like, going through the place trying to get outside where we were all waiting. But I made it, and I tried all the beers. We tried them all together. It was glorious.
We absolutely, it's so much fun to go there. And the final thing I will say about them before we try this beer, they love events. And there's been 2 that we've gone to that we really enjoy. One recently was called Bottled and Bond Day. And it celebrates the passing of the Bottled and Bond Act. And there's a gentleman named E.H. Taylor, who is a distiller, who is very instrumental in it. So Stubborn German, besides their beer, they also love their bourbon. And they have a very extensive bourbon collection. And they were selected as one of 50 bourbon bars to be able to celebrate this day. What that meant was they got a nice selection of new editions of E.H. Taylor. So by going there that day, we got to try an E.H. Taylor flight.
4.
Yeah, we had an opportunity. We didn't win, but we had an opportunity to get in a raffle to buy a limited edition bottle. And what was really fun is the owner, Chris, dresses up like E.H. Taylor and walks around.
Gives a speech.
Yeah, and he does a proclamation, and we all do a toast with the bourbon, and it was a great time.
It was fun.
The other thing we love is their Oktoberfest, which they call Stubborn Fest, and it's a 2-day festival. They're seating indoors. It spills out into the street and into the square. We brought our own lawn chairs. They have food. They had a bubble machine for kids, an oompa band. But what's really cool is you can bring your stein, and they'll fill it for you. Yeah. So you have a couple.
Just keep walking up with a glass, and they'll fill it out.
Yeah, sit outside, enjoy the fall.
I'm not sure who they get for food vendors that day, but it's
amazing.
It's still not them, but it's the whole town kind of comes together for it.
So we've tried a ton of their beers, and every time we go, there's something different. I mean, there's some standards they have, like their Stubborn Fest, which is an Oktoberfest all year round.
Their Shits and Giggles.
Yes, Shits and Giggles.
Spelled SCHITZ.
It's a Munich Dunkel. That's really good. But the one we're going to try today.
It's brand new to us.
Yeah, we hadn't tried it before. It's called Steve's Swingin Trappist Single. Okay, I'm going to read you a little bit.
So you've heard of doubles and triples and quads. This is a single. Go ahead.
Just go read you what's on the can, and then we're going to take a sip of this, okay? It says, our friend and fellow homebrewer Steve shared a bottle of his Trappist Single with us, and we loved it so much, we wanted to make a big batch of it with him. So it says, look for Belgian yeast character like pepper and cloves with a light color and delicious Belgian Pilsner malt. So I'll say usually Belgians taste like bananas to me. Yeah. I think that's the clove, but it tastes like banana. So I'll let you know what I think. Usually I think
you see the color over here. It's a little cloudy, but not bad.
No, but it's
that's typical of Belgians. It seems like a little bit
too.
Put
this out here. Okay, here we go. Oh, it smells. I can smell bananas. That's what they smell like to me.
It's really good. I like it a lot. If you've had Belgians, doubles, triples, and quads, it's a single, and that's appropriate because it's like a little bit less than a double as far as the overall flavor. Not as banana-y.
Definitely more cloves, and it's a little bitter on the end.
You get a little more of the malt and stuff on the end of it too.
For sure.
So it's almost like they took a beer that was going to be a double and just stopped at one point and said, "Okay, this is a single." That's really good.
Oh, yeah. Again, a triumph by Stubborn German. So. If you have a chance to go down there, definitely make a trip to Stubborn German in Waterloo, Illinois.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a distance outside of St. Louis. Like if you're in the city, it might take you about 40 minutes to get there.
Or should we say, Slante?
Prost. Break the glass there.
Sorry, I was a little excited.
so congratulations to Stubborn German. We one of our favorite places to go.
Yeah.
Congratulations to all for even though you took a little help, you still got through Jetfire.
Thank you. That one was hard.
That was a hard one. Some of these remakes are way more complicated than the original G1 ones
Couldn't done it without you.
But if you'd like to know more about Jetfire or any other character, a couple places I recommend. One is there's on YouTube, Chris McFeely has a channel called The Basics On. There is definitely a Basics On Jetfire /Skyfire, so you can check that out. Also, the Transformer Wiki, tfwiki.net. You can find all sorts of information about different Transformers.
Well, and if there's any beer or spirit you'd like us to try, please comment below.
And if it's a Transformer you'd like to see, absolutely the same. So always remember to play responsibly and drink responsibly.
That's right.
Hit all those buttons.
Woo! Smash
hit all those
them.
buttons. Help us out
so
here. We
much.
appreciate you guys all. And once again, we thank you all from BeerFormers.
Right.